talked to Scott Tipton and Corey Gardner, who I think are representing the state very well, Doug Lamborn. And it is frustrating. How do you stay on course when you got so many things aimed at you that you have to consider? But I think you're absolutely right, and I would expect to be a voice to be heard, is not just my own agenda back there, but it's a really, I will be honest with you, it's a really tough environment to be.
Thank you.
Knowing what the constituency really wants and what's in their best interest from Washington standpoint.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just how do you balance the budget? I mean, the last time we had a balanced budget was because of the computer boom and the economy geared it. It had nothing to do with politics, quite frankly. But with interest rates at record low levels, when they start going up, how are you going to do that?
It doesn't take much to create a scenario where our interest on debt goes from roughly $250 billion a year to $1 trillion. Where's that money going to come from? I don't care who's in office. That problem is going to happen. If you took out all of the non-entitlement expenses from government today, you still couldn't balance the budget. It's going to take a strengthened economy to generate the revenues and flattening the spending. So at some point in time out here, I think the Ryan plan says approximately 10 years to take. It's going to take a long time to even get close to balancing the budget. In the meantime, 10 years from now, we're probably going to have a $20 trillion debt limit. That's really scary. Because there's so many things in place that can't be undone. Although I will tell you that I'm a believer in defunding. What was it? I shouldn't give this away because my opponents might use it, but the penny jar. Just to give you an example, you talk about $1 billion here, $1 billion there, $5 billion, and it doesn't seem to make any sense in Washington. Well, when I ran a company, we treated nickels like manhole covers when we had them. You, the taxpayers, we, the taxpayers, spend $6.8 billion minting pennies than they're worth annually. $6.8 billion. Why don't we just suspend the minting of pennies for a year? That's $6.8 billion. There are things like that back there that I'm really looking forward to taking on, because that's my CEO mentality. Look for the low lying fruit. Nobody else cares about the low hanging fruit. But that's just one example. There are lots of those. Gee whiz, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. Pretty soon it's real money. Yes, sir.
Well, touching on kind of what John said and Ron, and as far as balancing the budget, as far as people getting into office and taking the bull by the horns, and I'm going to change everything. It's always been my opinion, and let me know if I'm wrong, and it may not be a very optimistic outlook. But to me, I feel people get into office, they get into the hornet's nest in Washington, and they go to change something and they find out that everything is tied down by legal constraints or past agreements or contracts, and they have no way to change anything. Do you think that's true? Or am I just reading stuff into it?
No. The current situation is the House of Representatives is controlled by the Republicans. The Senate is controlled by the Democrats. The presidency is controlled by the president. And trying to move forward with something that everybody agreed to is just, it's really, really tough. So not a lot gets done in that scenario. The only way something can get done is like what happened when Nancy Pelosi was Speaker of the House, and the Democrats had control of everything, and that's where we are. And the reason we have $5.5 trillion worth of additional net deficit spending in the last 5 years is because of the policies that were put in place back in 2008, 2009, 2007. So trying to make progress in an environment like that is really, really hard. I don't hold out. The only promise I can make to the American people would be putting my fingers in the dike. And we get enough people putting their fingers in the dike, then we have a chance to stem the tide of growing national debt and leveling it off, and then trying to stimulate the economy and bring it back to the robustness that we had back in the late 90s, early 2000s, before 9/11 was devastating. 2008 financial crisis, absolutely devastating. Median incomes for people in the United States have gone down in the last decade. The government has to do something to unleash and get rid of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that keeps people from investing in America.
Thank you. I wish you the best of luck.
Mr. Coors, can you go back to Colorado? Can you outline a little bit, I know when after the census, what is basically the boundaries now of District 7 in Colorado? And then what do you see specifically about Colorado as far as things that you may know on the horizon? What's the economy of Colorado see that maybe not everyone in the room knows about?
The boundaries of, we can bring a map. The boundaries of District 7 have changed quite a bit in redistricting. Personally, the good news for me is I don't have to campaign in Aurora. Aurora is no longer part of that district. So we increased Adams County and southern Jefferson County. So that district has mostly made up of those two counties only. The 120th on the north, and it's really jagged. The 120th on the north, out east to Bennett, I believe, and then cuts diagonally back this way. Sheridan is an eastern boundary. The Hogbacks are a western boundary, and I think it's Quincy on the south.
Okay.
I think is the southern boundary, but it's really there's 425,000 registered voters. It's a big population density.
I think the best way to describe it is by the cities: Golden, Lakewood, Wheat Ridge, Arvada, Westminster, Thornton, North Glen, Commerce City. Those are the largest cities.
And then the unincorporated Adams County, Jefferson County.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And anything on the horizon for Colorado? Let's hear some optimistic news.
Actually, Colorado is not doing too badly compared to a lot of other places. The president's home state has the largest number of lost jobs in the last, in 2011, but that's his problem.
Mr. Corzo, just to build upon a statement you just made, you know, there's a lot of great individuals who serve this country in a political capacity, but as a whole, we don't have a great Congress or a great governmental system. And I think part of it is that mentality. That's his problem. What happens in Illinois has a trickle-down effect and a far-reaching effect to us in Colorado and everybody else. And that's the problem. All you people are desirous, or the people who are already there, go there with it, talk about this great picture of changing the country as a whole. And then when you all get there, it's all about me and individuals, and it's damn the rest of us until it's time to get elected again. And then you come back and give us a line of crap, not you per se, but you know, politicians as a whole, and just tell us what we want to hear for the shortest amount of time and bank on the fact that, oh, that sounds good. I mean, we use the analogy in line that politicians are like teenage boys. They'll say whatever they need to say to get what they're looking for. And come election time, that's exactly what happens over and over. And then you guys get it, especially when you get elected as a politician, it's like your batteries are recharged and you're rejuvenated, and you get up there for 60, 90, 180 days and work, and then you guys fall into